Vincent Kompany has just launched an absolutely furious, unprecedented attack on the Champions League officials, completely destroying the refereeing decisions that nearly cost Bayern Munich their entire European season. The Belgian manager did not hold back in his brutal assessment of the shocking penalty awarded to Paris Saint-Germain during their epic 9-goal thriller, publicly declaring that the officials got it completely wrong and exposing a massive flaw in how the rules are being interpreted. But while the football world is dissecting this massive refereeing controversy, Kompany has also issued a terrifying warning to PSG ahead of the second leg, proving exactly why his Bayern Munich side are the most dangerous attacking force in world football right now. When you look at what happened at the Parc des Princes on Tuesday night, it is easy to get swept up in the sheer madness of the occasion. We witnessed a monumental Champions League semi-final first leg that shattered records, delivering an unbelievable 5-4 victory for PSG in a match that will go down in history as the highest-scoring last four encounter ever. Bayern Munich took an early lead, found themselves completely overwhelmed and trailing by a massive 5-2 deficit before launching an incredible comeback to narrow the gap with two crucial second-half goals. It was a spectacle of the highest order, a true showcase of elite attacking football. But behind the incredible scoreline, a massive controversy is brewing that has left the Bayern Munich camp absolutely fuming. The source of this intense anger stems from a highly controversial incident late in the first half, a moment that completely shifted the momentum of the tie and left Vincent Kompany absolutely raging on the touchline. Ousmane Dembélé delivered a cross into the Bayern penalty area, which struck the slightly outstretched arm of Alphonso Davies. The Canadian fullback had previously had his hands clasped firmly behind his back, but as he moved to block the cross, his arm extended slightly. Following fierce and aggressive protests from the PSG players, the VAR intervened, sending Swiss referee Sandro Schara to the pitch-side monitor. After a brief review, Schara pointed to the spot, allowing Dembélé to step up and convert the penalty, giving his side a crucial 3-2 lead heading into the half-time break. This decision sent Vincent Kompany into an absolute meltdown. The Bayern manager was visibly furious, and he did not hold back when speaking to the media after the game. He completely destroyed the referee's interpretation of the incident, arguing passionately that the penalty should never have been awarded under any circumstances. According to Kompany, the footage clearly shows that Dembélé's cross first struck Davies on the hip before deflecting onto his arm. In his view, this initial contact with the body completely negates the handball offence, making the referee's decision a massive, game-changing error. Subscribe now and help us reach 1,000 subscribers by April 30th. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates on this title race. Kompany's frustration is entirely understandable when you break down the mechanics of the incident. He argued that the ball went directly from the body to the hand, a scenario that is often heavily debated within the complex framework of the handball rule. The Belgian manager was adamant that because the ball hit the hip first, it cannot be considered a deliberate or unnatural handball. His furious reaction highlights a growing frustration among managers regarding the inconsistent application of VAR and the seemingly arbitrary nature of handball decisions in massive Champions League fixtures. However, the analytical breakdown of this incident reveals a much more complicated reality, one that actually supports the referee's controversial decision. Refereeing expert Lutz Wagner provided a detailed analysis of the incident, completely dismantling Kompany's argument regarding the deflection off the hip. According to Wagner, the contact with Davies' hip played absolutely no role in the final decision because of the specific positioning of the defender's arm. He emphasized that Davies' left arm was extended, significantly increasing his defensive surface area and creating an unnatural barrier to block the cross. This interpretation is deeply rooted in the official rules of the game, which state that a deflection off another body part only negates a handball if it significantly alters the direction of the ball. In this specific case, Dembélé's cross would have struck Davies' outstretched arm regardless of the slight brush against his hip. The rules are incredibly clear on this matter. If a player has already unnaturally widened their body to block a shot or a cross, a subsequent handball is punishable, even if the ball deflects off another body part first. Referee Schara concluded that Davies had indeed extended his arm unnaturally wide, making the penalty call flawlessly correct according to the letter of the law. But the controversy does not end there, because Kompany's furious appeal has actually secured backing from a very high-profile figure in German football. Manuel Graffe, a former elite referee and current head of the German refereeing body, publicly disagreed with the decision, challenging the notion that Davies' arm position was unnatural. Graffe argued that while the arm had moved out slightly with the defender's step, it was still in a relatively natural position and close to the body when the cross was delivered. He insisted that the crucial factor was the ball bouncing off the hip beforehand, suggesting that the only argument for a penalty was the previous outward movement of the arm, which occurred before the cross was even struck. This massive divide in expert opinion perfectly illustrates why Kompany was so incredibly angry. When even the highest level refereeing experts cannot agree on the interpretation of the rules, it creates an environment of total confusion and frustration for the managers and players involved. But despite this burning sense of injustice, Kompany knows that he cannot afford to dwell on the referee's decisions. His Bayern Munich side are still very much alive in this tie, and their incredible comeback from 5-2 down proves exactly why they are the most feared attacking unit in Europe. The decision to start Alphonso Davies in the first place was a massive tactical gamble by Kompany, one that drew immediate comparisons to his mentor, Pep Guardiola. The Catalan coach was famous for overthinking massive Champions League fixtures, often making surprising tactical tweaks that backfired spectacularly. By dropping the incredibly reliable Konrad Laimer and starting Davies, who had recently returned from a serious cruciate ligament injury, Kompany prioritized raw pace over tactical stability. It was a bold, aggressive move designed to exploit PSG's weaknesses, but it exposed him to massive criticism when Davies conceded the controversial penalty. However, a deeper analytical look at Davies' performance reveals that Kompany's gamble actually paid off in several key areas. Despite the penalty incident, the Canadian fullback delivered a highly impressive shift, controlling his flank far better than his teammates on the opposite side. He boasted an incredible 96% pass completion rate, the highest of any Bayern player in the starting 11, and even launched the swift counter-attack that led to Munich's opening penalty. When Laimer eventually replaced him at half-time, the Austrian struggled to hit his stride, leaving his flank dangerously exposed and managing a pass accuracy of just 74%. Kompany's tactical risk may have resulted in a controversial penalty, but it certainly did not cost them the tie. Now, all focus shifts to the monumental second leg at the Allianz Arena, and Kompany has issued a terrifying rallying cry that should have PSG absolutely shaking. When asked what fans can expect in the return fixture, the Belgian manager simply replied, "More, even more." He is demanding an atmosphere of absolute hostility, calling on the 75,000 Bayern supporters to create a massive wall of sound that will completely overwhelm the French champions. He even made a special, unprecedented request, urging any fan who is not feeling 100% fit to give their ticket to someone who can bring maximum energy to the stadium. This is the mentality of a manager who knows exactly what his team is capable of achieving. Bayern Munich have already secured the Bundesliga title this season, setting a staggering new league benchmark with 113 goals. They possess an attacking arsenal that is simply unmatched, with Harry Kane, Michael Olise and Luis Diaz all registering 10 or more goals and assists in this Champions League campaign alone. Kane himself boasts 13 goals in the competition and leads the Bundesliga scoring charts with an incredible 33 strikes. Kompany remains absolutely defiant in the face of the first leg defeat. He knows that conceding 5 goals in a Champions League knockout tie is usually a death sentence, but he also knows that his team scored 4 goals away from home against one of the best teams in the world. They have proven beyond any doubt that they can score goals at will, and with the entire Allianz Arena behind them, the belief within the Bayern camp is absolute. The refereeing controversy may have dominated the headlines, but Vincent Kompany is entirely focused on unleashing an attacking storm in the second leg that PSG will simply not be able to survive. And while the controversial penalty decision against Alphonso Davies will undoubtedly continue to be debated by pundits and fans alike, Kompany's focus has already shifted entirely to the tactical adjustments needed for the return fixture. The fullback positions are now completely up for grabs, with the manager facing another massive decision regarding whether to stick with Davies or revert to the more reliable Konrad Laimer. Whatever decision Kompany makes, it will be scrutinised under the intense microscope of Champions League football. But if there is one thing this epic first leg has proven, it is that Bayern Munich have the firepower to overcome any obstacle, any refereeing decision, and any deficit. The Allianz Arena is preparing for an absolute war, and PSG should be terrified of the storm that is coming their way.